So we applied for an EOU. It took us 1.5 year to get an EOU. Like Rajesh Bhai would focus on getting the EOU, I was focusing on doing the business. He would go there, sit there. Customs बोले नहीं नहीं आपकी तो impression की value 5,000 रुपया है. हम लोग बात सही है पर हम वो डॉक्टर से पैसा नहीं ले रहे पेशेंट से. हम तो दांत बना के दे रहे जिसकी वैल्यू बहुत छोटी है. तो इम्प्रेशन की वैल्यू ही नहीं है. वो डेंटिस्ट का कैप प्लस रूट कैनाल प्लस ट्रीटमेंट प्लस एक्सपीरियंस उसका कॉस्ट है. And a lot of them at back then dentistry was considered to be very very expensive. Very few people, whoever used to go saying, "अरे यार मुझे तो बहुत expensive लग रहा है." So it took us 1.5 year.
So it was this perception of the service that you were offering that you had to change.
And import was anyways very difficult. Even at that time, DHL, FedEx, and UPS had massive planes going to China. India में तो एक ही मिलता था, वो भी बहुत कम. So we fought that. We went to the commissioner. Fortunately, the custom commissioner's daughter was a dentist. So when we were fighting to go through the bureaucracy ladder, Rajesh bhai just barged into commissioner's office. He got frustrated saying, "Sir, ये license देना है तो दो, मत देना है तो मत दो, लेकिन हमें बिजनेस करने दो यार. आप बोलते हो फॉरेन करेंसी लाओ, यहाँ हमको एक्सपोर्ट करना है, हमको लाइसेंस ही नहीं दे रहे." तो इसे ठीक है आप फाइल रखिए राजेश भाई, आप कल आइए. तो बोलते सर 1.5 साल में कुछ नहीं हुआ, कल क्या होगा? बोलते नहीं आप कल आइए. सो देन ही केम टुमारो. राजेश भाई वेंट, ही मेट एंड ही सेड कि ये मैंने आपका बोल दिया है, ये पास होके आपको 7 days में ईओयू का लाइसेंस मिल जाएगा. एंड राजेश भाई 1.5 साल से नहीं हुआ, इनके तो आपने कैसे किया? बोलते सिंपल, मेरी डॉटर डेंटिस्ट है, मैं घर गया, मैंने उसको पूछा कि ये लोग जो कर रहे हैं ठीक कर रहे हैं क्या, इनके बाकी कोई तो कॉम्प्लिकेशन नहीं है. बट ये फर्स्ट ईओयू था इन द कंट्री इन डेंटल. नोबडी वाज इन export oriented unit or doing exports for dental.
A myth about dentistry you wish people in India knew about.
I know they all feel it's expensive. I've never understood why. So if we have to say that in one sentence, we would say, we are everything about teeth. If teeth exist, we exist. And fortunately, they are not going anywhere. Human beings will need them. For what we do is we explain that from children to teenage to adult to a senior citizen, we have covered all bases as a dental integrated company. There are very few in the world who do it, and we did it because we truly believe the message we want to pass on, not just to Indian customers or patients or doctors, but to the world, that we can manufacture or create teeth. I think create is the right word. Manufacturing is still, an assembly kind. Your teeth are all custom made.
Welcome to episode 143 of Founders Unfiltered. I'm Aviral here with Mazin. Today's guest is Sameer Merchant, the CEO of Laxmi Dental Limited, India's only listed dental company. With 6 manufacturing facilities, the company now exports to over 95 countries and serves more than 22,000 dental clinics across 300 plus Indian cities. Under Sameer's leadership, what began as a focused venture has scaled into a global dental powerhouse. Proof that even in industries considered very niche and technical, India can build category leaders. In this episode, we'll explore Sameer's journey from stepping into an industry often considered very, very niche to scaling operations, innovating in dentistry and dental tech, and building trust in healthcare markets across India and abroad. I think one of his main missions also is to tell people that dentists or teeth is more than just Colgate and Pepsodent. So welcome to the podcast, Sameer.
Thank you so much, Aviral. Thank you, Mazin. It's a pleasure to be on this podcast, and hopefully I'll try and give you some context of what dental industry is today and what it was probably 10-20 years ago.
Awesome. So we'll start with a rapid fire. These are like quick answers, what comes immediately to your mind. A founder or leader you'd blindly back.
I think it has to be my uncle, who's the chairman of the company. So he started the company in 1989. So I am blindly following him, and I'll blindly back him anytime.
Nice.
Amazing. One book, film, or mental model that shaped how you think.
I think on the mental model again, I still say I'm not younger. I'm from the older generation, born in the 1982. So back then the book and movies were probably not. We came from very humble background. So I would say mental model adjustment happened when I first traveled to Japan. So since when I went to Dharwad was the first adjustment. So from a Mumbai boy going to Dharwad, and then from Dharwad going straight to Japan, Tokyo. So that adjustment of when what I spent time in Japan, where quality stood first, and if you see in 1999 2001, we were not known for that. We were still a software, still our majority a software country. I think that adjustment when I came back, so speed with quality is something which still drives us today.
Nice. A myth about dentistry you wish people in India knew about.
I know they all feel it's expensive. I've never understood why.
Okay. Uh,
You go to a physician, you go do a blood test, you go do so many things throughout 30 years of your life and spend so much amount, but after 30 years if you go once to a dentist you think it's expensive. I think that is the biggest myth I feel.
Fair. Agree.
Go to ritual or daily habit.
I think it's been few years now, gymming or exercising has become important. Since you touch 40 you realize the body can't support what it used to support before. So I think now my routine is go exercise and then work.
Hmm. If Lakshmi Dental didn't exist, what would you be building?
Something on cricket for sure. I always wanted to be a cricketer. So
Okay.
my background is I was under Ramakant Achurekar going to Dadar Shivaji
Oh,
Park for 5 years of my life, from 6th standard to 10th standard. Especially SSC school or morning school. So go to the school in the morning, come back, have lunch, take a bus to Dadar, play cricket there, and come back. So if not in dentistry, probably something in cricket for sure.
interesting. And I'm assuming you were a batsman,
All rounder, both.
all rounder. Okay.
Kids are pursuing cricket as well. So hopefully, maybe one of them. I have two boys, so maybe they can. One of them can make it to at least enjoy playing cricket.
We missed the new merchant after Vijay Merchant. Would have been you, but good. Cool. Samir, for listeners who may not know what Lakshmi Dental does, and a lot of people didn't know what dentistry is as well, how would you describe what you're building and who you're building for?
So if we have to say that in one sentence, we would say, we are everything about teeth. If teeth exist, we exist. And fortunately, they are not going anywhere. Human beings will need them. For what we do is we explain that from children to teenage to adult to a senior citizen. We have covered all bases as a dental integrated company. There are very few in the world who do it, and we did it because we truly believe the message we want to pass on, not just to Indian customers or patients or doctors, but to the world, that we can manufacture or create teeth. I think create is the right word. Manufacturing is still an assembly kind. Your teeth are all custom made. So we create something which is not just good for India, but it should be good for the world. And that's the philosophy from day one, which Rajesh bhai, who's my mama and the chairman, he pulled me up. He said, you are going to Japan to study, and then I went to Germany and US and other parts. So that has created a sense of purpose, that was India ka naam world mein kyun nahi hai. Why Indian dental company can't be in 150 or 200 countries of the world, and the product which are made in India are fitted in patients who are in US, Europe, and any part of the world. So that's the core purpose which drives us.
Interesting. And is it just teeth that you make, or are there other things also that you do?
Everything in dentistry. So if there is teeth which are needed, there are aligners which are today very trendy. A lot of people
Yes.
know about aligners. Dentistry is now known with aligners.
Aligners, correct. Yes.
So we make the aligners. If there are dentures to be made, if there are some chemicals that you need in the teeth, if there are intraoral scanners nowadays, you see before people used to make those physical impression with clay-like material.
Correct.
Now
Yes.
a lot of people are using digital scanners. So
Ah,
all those things is forming a part of the next digital revolution in India in dentistry. And we truly believe next 10, 20 years, this category will exponentially grow just from people perspective, not from us, but people are getting more aware.
hmm.
Like 10, 20 years back, health awareness, 10, 20 years back, awareness on haircut. At that time we said we are going for a haircut. Now it's a trim. We are going for a
Yes.
trim.
Hmm.
Over there we knew there was one salon in one area which was popular, and that's it. Now you go down your building, there are two salons left and right. So the whole
Right.
cultural change happened in this, and we feel in dentistry that's about to happen. It has happened already in US, in Europe, years back, in APAC, I would say 5 years back, and it's bound to happen in India.
Hmm. Yeah, I remember when I was getting my braces, it was a really bad tasting thing. I don't know if it was clay, uh, in which they used to take your impressions and then So it's good to know now. Maybe a lot of young kids don't have to do that anymore. It used to be green and pink. Those were the only two
Yes,
colors
yes, yes,
I remember.
yes.
So
Actually, my
interesting.
own son went through the aligner treatment, so he went through the whole experience himself.
Mm,
He's about 14 years old.
okay.
He went through the whole treatment, and
Mm,
he seemed to enjoy it, saying just scanning, wearing the aligners,
very
which back
interesting.
then just didn't exist.
Correct. And like you mentioned, you've trained across Japan, Germany, and the US, um, and you would have seen dentistry becoming automated and digital. India at that time obviously was not. Uh, how did you take that leap, and why did you think that India will also move in this direction?
I think since start, when Rajesh Bhai picked me up when I was playing cricket and said cricket छोड़ दे, to dentistry कर. So it was a bit of a risk because cricket में भी पता नहीं था क्या होगा, and I was not great in studies because my passion was sports. But eventually we moved. I went to Dharwad. I stood first there because then he told me कि अभी तो cricket नहीं है, तो तू समझ ले कि यही है. Similarly, so that risk taking ability and being good Jews, sometimes it's just in the blood that we want to take that risk. And whatever I saw as an 18-year-old boy in Japan, I came back and Rajesh Bhai told me, okay, next trip is to Germany. I went to Germany, came back. Should have been to US, but US visa happened after a year and a half, so I went there. But after my two journeys, I came and he was honest and open about saying, Samir, what did you see? What should we do? What should we not do? So I said, Mama, सच बोलूं कि झूठ? He said, नहीं नहीं सच बोलना क्या है? I said, then बुरा नहीं लगेगा? I said, मेरे को क्या बुरा लगेगा? I said, हम जो कर रहे हैं कुछ नहीं करना चाहिए. Whatever we are doing, we are not doing it right. We should do something which other people already in Japan and Germany, what I saw is completely different. He said, तो करते हैं ना वो करेंगे. So he then opened up a subsidiary which called Illusion Dental. The primary company was Laxmi Dental. Even in India, the brand today is Illusion because that's what he started for me back then in 2001. So when he started, I said, okay, I will only do certain kind of work because that is the future. He said, ठीक है, कर ले, क्या फर्क पड़ता है, देखते हैं क्या होता है. So I used to go to dentist. I was the business development guy. I was the sales guy. I was the technicians making teeth. I'm a qualified guy, so I used to make teeth. I was the HR. I was the admin, everything. So I would go in the morning, do BD, meet doctors, and they would say, "हाँ बेटा आ जाओ," because I'm still 18 years old and I've started. हाँ बेटा, आई सेड डॉक्टर साहब ये दांत मैं बनाता हूँ. हाँ वो ठीक है, पहले तू ये वाला दांत बना. हम लाइक सर ये तो मैं करता ही नहीं हूँ. तो बेटा ऐसा मत कर, तेरे को कोई बिजनेस नहीं देगा. एंड आई वाज प्रॉब्ली नाइव. आई वुड से सर आपको नहीं पता है, फॉरेन में ऐसा होता ही नहीं है, वो लोग तो यही बनाते हैं. सम ऑफ देम स्टिल ट्रीट मी एज अ किड सिंस आई एम ईटिंग. सम ऑफ देम वुड गेट पिस्ड ऑफ सेइंग बेटा मैं 20 साल से तो प्रैक्टिस कर रहा हूँ और तेरी उम्र 18 है, यू डोंट नो. I said, maybe I don't know how the world works, but I'm just telling you what I saw in different part of the world. Took at least a couple of months or 2 to 3 months to get my first business, first order from a dentist, trusting saying that
And what were you selling to them that they were pushing back so much
they're
to?
making crowns. So at
Hmm.
that time, there were two category of crowns which were, I would say, majority. One was metal crowns, the other was ceramic crowns. Now there is zirconia crowns and metal free crowns. It's more popular now. Back then only two types. 70 60 70% business would be metal crowns, only 20 30% would be ceramic crowns. And I learned in Japan metal free crowns, which did not even exist
Okay.
in India. So I told them that I am doing either metal ceramic or metal free. So metal free, though it was very hard to understand for a lot of people. But metal ceramic was okay. They say fine, but I want to start giving you first order of a metal crown because I'm still a new guy. I'm still 18 years old, so they can't trust and say कि हाँ इसको ये metal ceramic का crown देते हैं. What if he goofs up? So, and I would say I don't do metal crown because nobody else in the world is doing it. So why are you doing it? And that did not resonate with them. So they're like नहीं 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 नहीं. Finally one guy took a bet saying हाँ ठीक है ये crown कर क्योंकि दूसरी जगह से मुझे problems हो रहे हैं. And the way I delivered the crown, he was so happy. He told his 10 friends, he's saying, boss, ये बच्चे को तो chance देना चाहिए. He's doing something which I have not seen before in terms of quality. And that's how things started happening in India. Back then there was no marketing, no salespeople, no social media. So everything was word of mouth. And that's how the company started growing exponentially.
Interesting. So you like an outsider in an insider
Yes.
setup, which was very interesting. Hmm. And in the early 2000s, which is about when I think you joined, it was still a small two-person lab.
So my lab was 2%. Rajesh Bhai had a lab since 1989. So his lab, Lakshmi Dental, was about, I would say, 30, 35, 40 people approx. And then he offset one or two people, he gave it to me saying, कि ये तीन जन तुम लोग एक lab शुरू करो, which is named Fusion. His lab was Lakshmi. He wanted to brand me, so he gave me an 800 square feet, area. He made it very nice. It was a glass building. His vision was that you should work like a European or an American dental profession, not I'm doing in India.
Nice. It was still even 30, 40 years not at the scale you are today, of course.
Not
And
at all.
and
Not at all.
and kids at that age, obviously, a lot of family business kids are like, "Hey, I don't want to do this." Why did you want to do this, especially given you wanted to be a cricketer?
I didn't want to do it.
You didn't want to do it, okay?
Even I didn't want to do it. What happened was that he came and spoke to my mom and dad
Hmm.
saying कि, हमारे घर में सबसे बड़ा बच्चा तो समीर ही है,
Hmm.
तो पास यही कर रहे हैं तो इसको धारवाड़ भेजते हैं.
Okay.
And I said I don't want to go to Dharwad. I want to pursue cricket.
Hmm.
He said no. And I said okay. Back then you wouldn't rebel with your
Okay, that was easy.
parents. It was easy. Nowadays, you tell a kid that you don't
Yeah.
go to a birthday party, they will talk to you for half an hour why they should go to a birthday party.
Uh,
Forget about a career decision.
uh,
But back then, I said, "Okay." Then I was sent to Dharwad, where I stayed in a hostel setup for 2 years. And first 3 months, I was cursing everyone who sent me here because I'm still a 16-year-old Guju boy.
right.
Settling in Dharwad. Karnataka and South was very different back then.
Correct.
And Dharwad, I don't know if you know Dharwad. Dharwad was it was like a village back
Yes,
then,
correct.
1999.
Right.
So from living in Mumbai, Andheri, going to Dharwad, so those sort of things again sometimes completely shapes you in terms of how you think. Living alone, washing your own clothes, doing all the chores that normally at home your mom was doing and you didn't even realize.
Right.
But when it came to you every weekend you're washing your apron, which should look white because then the professors would shout. So all of that, I've done it, and I've
Nice.
gone through those periods.
And Harvard was the college, or
Yes,
where?
SDM, yeah, SDM. Sri Dharmasthala Manjunatheshwara was the college.
Okay.
It was at that time probably Asia's top two. It
Okay.
still is a very, very big college out there.
Nice. In almost remote wilderness.
Almost now there is CCD and Starbucks, so
Yes.
now
Now
it's
it's not remote.
pretty good.
Then
Yes,
it was.
yes. Then it was.
Yeah.
Then it was
And
free filter coffee. There was CCD and Starbucks.
yeah. And you mortgaged your house to fund the company. Can you tell us
Yes,
a
that
bit about
was a
that?
bit of a crazy story. So we got invested by OrbiMed in 2015, and we were about 50 crores in revenue back then. By 2019, in 4 years, we grew 3x to 150 crores. So everything is going great. We are 3x growth in the business. It was completely non-digital. It was very rare for a dental company to grow 3x in 4 years in that period because things were not so fast. Dentistry was not as aware as it is right now from 2015 to 2019. Then 2020 Feb, we do the highest ever sales, we do the highest ever numbers, and we are all very happy. And March 2020, COVID happened. So we went from, like, Rajba and me discussed, we went from zero to 50 crores, 50 crores to 150 crores. So technically, from 1989 till 2020, we never saw a downward year where things didn't go well. Every year we were growing organically, and last 4 years we grew exponentially. So then it went down. I'm sure nobody wanted to go to a dentist when it was COVID. Correct? Nobody wanted to pull up the mask, forget about going to a dentist and opening their mouth and doing dental treatment. So the business completely went down, and we had a couple of thousand people back then as well. So how to support them? So what we did is we spoke to, I would say, majority of them. We were like 16 hours on the call, talking to everyone, explaining everyone, and then eventually after a month or two, the situation became where operationally we needed money to sustain. Nobody knew how long will COVID exist. So then me, Rajesh bhai sat and we said, okay, three options. We go to the bank, we go to our existing investor, or third option is crazy one, but we mortgage our house and we tell our family we're doing that in COVID. ऐसे पहले दो ऑप्शन ट्राई कर लेते हैं. Speak to all the banks and say, you know what, we have this business, we did 3x business, and we just need funds for 6 months. Situation should be fine. Everyone said, sir, we wish we could, but we can't go back to the IC and say, okay, boss, your business went down by 60, 70, 80%, and still give you more money. You already have debt. If something goes wrong, then you guys will be bankrupt maybe. But
Yeah,
ऐसा क्यों सोच रहे, हम हमारे माइंड में तो ये सोच भी नहीं आ रही
कि बैंक करप्ट हो सकता है.
कि कैसे हो सकता है. अभी हमने 3x रेवेन्यू ग्रो करके वी डिड हाईएस्ट एवर ईयरली सेल्स. इट्स
Right,
जस्ट अ मैटर ऑफ टाइम. So then
right.
we said, okay, let's mortgage the house. And I spoke to the family, Rajbhai spoke to the family, we spoke to the family. And at one point in time, they said, नहीं करना है, क्यों करना है. हम like, यार वैसे भी 1 साल 2 साल कोविड चला तो सब मरने वाले, क्या करेंगे प्रॉपर्टी का.
Okay.
There's nothing we can do, right? Asset has no meaning if it can't be used.
Oh man.
ऐसे तो फिर कर लेते हैं ना, इट्स ओके. बट इफ वी डू दिस एंड थिंग्स गो राइट, आई थिंक द फॉर्च्यून्स ऑफ द होल फैमिली एंड द पीपल हु आर पार्ट ऑफ द कंपनी विल चेंज. एंड एक्चुअली दैट हैपेंड. God was kind. We did the right decisions. We took the right steps, and we did the IPO. We rewarded a lot of people with ESOPs. The family also is now very happy that this happened. So step one of the vision achieved, no, but I would say there are almost 99 steps left in the vision.
No, this is very, very fascinating. And you talked about a big challenge you faced as well. But
Yes.
maybe before that, in the early days, you mentioned convincing dentists was hard. What were some of the toughest challenges you faced, especially like when you were trying to go global?
Global big challenge. See, India, I would say slightly easier, but again, state to state. So we generally try and think that India is not a country; it's a continent. So we think like Europe is a continent. You may say Europe is Europe, but Europe is not Europe, right? Germany is different, France is different, Italy is different. Similarly, in India, Gujarat is different, Kerala is different, Delhi is different. So we always try and think that India is continent and not a country. So in a continent, there are multiple countries which are states. You have to think how each state functions, which was slightly easier because we are still at the core Indian. So we could find people from different parts of the state and understand the culture, and based on that culture, try and get business. International was very very difficult. So when we started exporting in 2004, there is an interesting journey where in India those times import duties were incredible. They were 40, 60%, 80% in a lot of scenarios. This is, I'm talking way back in 2001, 2004. So when we wanted to do export, but to do export, we had to receive the dental impression to make teeth. So we were making teeth and shipping to US in 2004. Europe and US, but we had to receive the impression. So for that impression, we understood that if we do not have an EOU, which is an export oriented unit, it is like SEZ, special economic zones that were created back then. We couldn't be in that zone because jewelry industry was very big in special economic zones. So we had no chance to be there because we were still a very small lab with maybe 100 200 people. वहाँ सब 2-2 हज़ार 3-3 हज़ार लोग लेके exports कर रहे थे jewelry का. So we applied for an EOU. It took us 1.5 year to get an EOU. Like Rajesh Bhai would focus on getting the EOU. I was focusing on doing the business. He would go there, sit there. Customs बोले नहीं नहीं आपकी तो impression की value 5,000 रुपया है. हम लोग बात सही है पर हम वो डॉक्टर से पैसा नहीं ले रहे पेशेंट से. हम तो दांत बना के दे रहे जिसकी वैल्यू बहुत छोटी है. तो इम्प्रेशन की वैल्यू नहीं है, वो डेंटिस्ट का कैप प्लस रूट कैनाल प्लस ट्रीटमेंट प्लस एक्सपीरियंस उसका कॉस्ट है. एंड लॉट ऑफ देम एट बैक देन डेंटिस्ट्री वाज कंसिडर्ड टू बी वेरी वेरी एक्सपेंसिव. वेरी फ्यू पीपल हूएवर यूज्ड टू गो सिंगर यार मुझे तो बहुत एक्सपेंसिव लग रहा है. सो इट टुक अस 1.5 year.
So it was this perception of the service that you're offering that you had to change.
And
Yeah.
import was anyways very difficult.
Right.
Even at that time DHL, FedEx and UPS had massive planes going to China. इंडिया में तो एक एक ही मिलता था, वो भी बहुत कम. So we fought that. We went to the commissioner. Fortunately, the custom commissioner's daughter was a dentist. So when we were fighting to go through the bureaucracy ladder, Rajesh bhai just barged into commissioner's office. He got frustrated saying, "Sir, ये license देना है तो दो, मत देना है तो मत दो. लेकिन हमें बिजनेस करने दो यार. आप बोलते हो फॉरेन करेंसी लाओ, यहाँ हमको एक्सपोर्ट करना है, हमको लाइसेंस ही नहीं दे रहे." तो इसे ठीक है आप फाइल रखिए राजेश भाई, आप कल आइए। तो बोलते सर 1.5 साल में कुछ नहीं हुआ, कल क्या होगा? बोलते नहीं, आप कल आइए। सो देन ही केम टुमारो, राजेश भाई वेंट, ही मेट एंड ही सेड कि ये मैंने आपका बोल दिया है, ये पास होके आपको 7 days में ईओयू का लाइसेंस मिल जाएगा। एंड राजेश भाई, 1.5 साल से नहीं हुआ, एक दिन में आपने कैसे किया? बोलते सिंपल है, मेरी डॉटर डेंटिस्ट है, मैं घर गया, मैंने उसको पूछा कि ये लोग जो कर रहे हैं ठीक कर रहे हैं क्या, इनके बाकी कोई तो कॉम्प्लिकेशन नहीं है। बट ये फर्स्ट ईओयू था इन द कंट्री इन डेंटल, नोबडी वाज इन export oriented unit or doing exports for dental, so that's why nobody understood. And that's the similar thing, we got listed on the main board, first dental company. Even today, majority of the time that goes between me and Rajesh bhai is explaining the investors, boss, ye business kya hai. If this was a pharma company, this was any other different engineering company, automobile company, they have so many precedent of what other companies are easier to understand. हमारा समझ ही नहीं आ रहा. But we already faced that way back in 2004 or 2003 when we got the EOU license. And then once we got the license, now it was like Aviral, you said, how it was difficult to go globally. What we did, and I don't know right or wrong, but a bit crazy, Google had started doing PPC campaigns back then. They had just started. 2002, 2003 is when they were, I would say, decent to do PPC campaigns. They're still very expensive. But then we said कि यार लोग ढूंढेंगे कैसे हमको, इंडिया में बॉम्बे में है, फेसबुक नहीं था, इंस्टाग्राम नहीं था, सिर्फ गूगल का पेड कैंपेन्स थे। तो हमने बोला पेड कैंपेन्स करते, कोई भी आउटसोर्स डेंटल या आउटसोर्स टीथ कोई भी वर्ड चूज करेगा वर्ल्ड में से तो हम दिखने चाहिए। सो वी टारगेटेड यूएस फर्स्ट बिकॉज एवरीबडी न्यू लाइक यूएस इज अ वेरी लार्ज वॉल्यूम, ह्यूज बिजनेस. So we started the US campaign. We were spending maybe at that time 2-3 lakhs a month, which was huge amount for a paid campaign, and we were still a very small company. So based that, whoever used to email us saying, hey, we are interested, we used to say, okay, which city you are in, we are coming next month to visit you. Simple answer. We didn't know much. We said, boss, we will come and visit you because we don't know what to ask you, how this whole system works. So we got about, I would say, 25 or 30 leads in different 20 states of US. And me and Rajesh bhai packed our bags. At that time, US visa had WUSA, WUSA, something like that. So we took that, we went there, and we visited all 20 customers, 20, 25
It's
customers. We
whoever
would
you
take
found from the PPC ads, just the inbound, just went with it.
just we knew
Amazing.
आपका address दो, ये दो, we will come and meet you.
Nice.
Because we had no clue how to do this business. But again, we are entrepreneurs taking, saying जाएंगे तो पता चल जाएगा ना. If you go, we'll figure it out. So we went there early mornings, taking 4 a.m. flights, going there, taking bus, walking, train, going to the customer, meeting them, talking, showing them some work that we had, some caps that we had made, crowns that we have made, and they would see and they say, oh, this is very bad. Some would say, oh yeah, this is decent, maybe we can work on it. Some would say, yeah, it's good, I will let you know. मैं बोला भाई तूने यहाँ तक बोला ना, I will let you know. I said ठीक है, that's also an experience. We saw large labs. So we saw a lab which was 20,000 square feet, and I'm like, ऐसा भी dental lab होता है क्या? The- that it was very hard to imagine. We are still in 2,000 square feet, and someone is in 20,000 square feet. And the way introducing, oh yeah, hi, my name is whatever Jim, and I'm the owner. We are a pretty small size lab in US. I'm like, he's saying small size lab. Why is he saying small size lab? He's 20,000 square feet. He should be the biggest. He's saying, no, 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 no. There are so many people who are bigger than us. He would give us names saying, these guys are like 500 people. These guys are like 1,000 people. This guy is 2,000 people. And we were scratching saying, यार 100-200 जन में इंडिया में we are starting to think, oh, we are the king of India, and we are a very big company. But you go to US, you get humbled by the whole experience कि boss बहुत बड़े लोग हैं. But then that was the tough part. So we went to US, then we went to Europe. So knowing what they are making, and then only, I would say, probably 4 or 5 years down the line, they started accepting a little bit because they wanted an option against China. Otherwise, okay, made in India, yeah, must be okay. India is still snake charmers and stuff, whatever we hear on Instagram कि वहाँ पे रास्ते पे cows घूमते हैं और snake charmers होते हैं, that is India. Even today there are a lot of people who say that. Fortunately last 2-3 years people have changed perception, but pre covid अभी भी वही सबके mind में था. तो वो time पे तो बहुत ऐसा था. And they would ask us, oh, do you have children working for you? I'm like, what are you even talking about? Well, how do we make teeth with children? I'm a graduate. I'm a passed out in dentistry. But they would ask those questions. So it took a lot of time, effort, going constantly, meeting them, showing them who we are, what we are, using the best brands of materials in the world, taking pictures with those material brands, with their CEOs, with their owners, to say, by the way, I met this four company owners, I use their products, just for them to believe the validation that we can do good. So very interesting, how things went. But now I think it's much easier. The perception that India has now versus 25 years back when we started export, it was very difficult.
No, incredible. That's quite the story. And want to talk about your more recent journey of going public. As you said, perception has changed, but it must still have been a challenge. Investors not having a model to benchmark against. So, can you walk us through that process? What were some of the differences, and how did you kind of navigate through that journey of going public?
So when we started, it's very interesting. First of all, post COVID, it took some time for us to get back up. Mortgage money we went up, and when we start this IPO roadshow, before the IPO roadshow, of course, we meet the bankers. So you try and talk to the bankers. The bankers are scratching their heads, saying, "कि यार इसको क्या position करे, किसके साथ compare करे, कैसे हम समझाए, what do we tell our investors how to put money?" So we did, multiple rounds of meeting with the bankers. We made them understood, I would say, probably two or three simple facts. One, what's the perception of dentistry in India and in the world? They say, oh, it's expensive. Then, does it sound that people are making money in dentistry? So they say, हाँ बॉस पैसे तो बन रहे हैं. हम लोग ओके तो पैसे बन सकते हैं ना ये बिजनेस में. तो now is there a fear that पैसे नहीं बनेंगे बिजनेस में? Will the investors not get ROI? That is not a concern area. If the business is good in dentistry, there should be ROI. I'm saying, chalo, point one taken. Point two, what is the awareness level? We asked the bankers who were sitting, अच्छा 5 साल पहले आप डेंटिस्ट्री के बारे में क्या जानते थे? इसे कुछ नहीं. आज क्या जानते हो सर? दो चार नाम तो मुझे भी पता है. मतलब now you know yourself, you are saying. And if you talk to your investors, I'm sure they also know, because their son, their daughter, their cousin, someone in dentistry is doing some treatment which is now known. So they saying, yeah, this point is clear. I said, then the third point, when you go to investors, what kind of people or companies do they want to back? Someone who has started the business, went up, took the investors' money, went up 3x, completely went down, again went up, and now it's on an onward journey. So, usual question that they ask in the investment circle is, what if things go wrong? That's like a one liner statement every investor is asking, even if he is the happiest with your pitch. That one question will always pop in saying, okay, Sameer, Rajesh, bhai, what if something goes wrong? हम लाइक इससे ज़्यादा रॉन्ग हमारे साथ क्या हो सकता है? If you see founders who in prime time COVID, when people are saving all their money, are mortgaging their house, putting money in the business, not knowing what will happen in dental business. This was not a pharmaceutical or a mask business की saying कि अरे थोड़ा profit कम होगा पर profit तो होगा. If COVID would have extended for 6 more months, we would not have been here talking to you at all. So it was that critical. And then after that, we went to the road show, started explaining them about the brand concept, why a brand in dentistry is important. Everything that we pick today, Mazin, if I ask you, Aviral, whatever we pick today, you have headphones, you're buying mics, you're buying t-shirts, you're buying shoes, we are eating something, shopping something. What is it that is not a brand?
Has some kind of
Everything,
brand recognition,
some
something that
kind
you
of
think
brand
of. Yeah.
recognition. बट इफ आई आस्क यू, आपकी फैमिली ने जिसने भी टीथ बनाए हैं उसकी ब्रांड क्या थी?
Yeah.
यू डोंट
Good
नो.
point. No one knows. Yes.
डेंटिस्ट ने बोला, आपने लगा दिया.
Yes.
सेम थिंग. सो आई स्टार्टेड गिविंग रेफरेंस टू अ लॉट ऑफ पीपल सेइंग 10 15 20 years बैक व्हेन यू गो टू अ फिजिशियन, करेक्ट, तभी तो हमारे पास एमबीबीएस के डॉक्टर होते थे. हम गए, डॉक्टर ने थर्मोमीटर लिया, चेकअप किया, स्टेटोस्कोप लिया, सब चेकअप किया, ओके है, ब्लड टेस्ट कराना तो ठीक है, अदरवाइज इनसे इसको ये 2 दिन की दवाई देना. वो दवाई क्या थी? एक सफेद गोली, एक पीली गोली, एक नीली गोली, एक पिंक गोली.
Yes.
इट वाज ओनली
Same
दैट.
always. Yes.
ऑलवेज सेम. वो मजीद को दवाई देनी है, अविरल को देनी है, समीर को देनी है, 4 गोली खा लो, आप ठीक हो जाओगे. Fast forward to last whatever 5 or 10 years, how many MBBS doctor do we go to today who will give you medicines like that versus a prescription medicine? What is basically a prescription? That's a brand.
Mhm.
Before that, It was the doctor telling you, do safed goli, do pili goli, do blue goli, you should take it and you will be fine. You trusted the doctor back then. Would you do the same now? It's the mindset change which has occurred, saying I will prescribe. Now what is that prescription? That's a brand. What's our validation? The doctor coming out googling what this medicine will do.
Right. There's more
That's
information, more things that you can look up, and yeah,
so
no, that's
that
a
is
really
what
good
we,
analogy.
so we did Karina for aligner branding. We got Madhuri Dixit for crown branding, which we are the only branded Indian company in India in both categories.
Amazing.
Crown पे कोई है ही नहीं. But we are saying that okay, we are an early starter, but we know in the future, if you today want for your parents, say 10 crowns which the doctor has suggested, which is unbranded and branded, where you can Google about it, you can research about it, you can read about it, you can check references on Instagram, social media, validate the company that it's a public listed company, okay, they're a good company, and you have been given a choice कि आपको 1 लाख रुपए में 10 क्राउन ये अनब्रांडेड मिलेंगे और 1,20,000 में ये ब्रांडेड मिलेंगे. What are we going to choose?
No, makes sense.
Because
Yes,
the
it's
delta
obvious,
is
right?
only 20%. Yeah, it's very
Yeah,
obvious, but
yeah.
nobody knows. So our current purpose is, before we go from the earth, is at least make India understand that if you are choosing anything which goes inside your mouth, which is teeth, choose a brand knowing what material it is, who has made it, if it's ISO certified, CE certified, FDA certified. कुछ तो आप पूछिए, because आप बाकी सब चीज में पूछ रहे हो. Even if you go to a pani puri wale, you're asking कि भैया बिस्लरी वाटर यूज किया है ना.
Yes, true,
But
true.
that's pani puri.
Yeah,
It, you will eat it, you're not going to die. Worst case scenario, you're going to have, motions, and 2 days later you are fine. This goes inside your mouth and stays inside your mouth for 10, 15, 20 years.
true.
In the aligner category, people are asking, aligner में brand ही है. Aligners does not have unbranded at all in the world. But in the crown category, nobody thought of it. So that's why we thought of it. And that's how the whole journey towards IPO happened. And that's what the investors heard us. Whoever understood the long term philosophy for what we are trying to do are very bullish, saying, "Yaar, you guys are trying to at least do something which not many people are thinking about." And that's truly who we are. Just me, Rajesh bhai, if you meet us even normally, we always want to do things which other people don't want to do.
Amazing. Talking about things that people don't want to do. I mean, your expansion strategy is really, I mean, started off with just following the leads. You went out and actually met people, but I'm sure now it's turned into a much more mature strategy.
Was
How do you think about global expansion today?
So today, I think one part is the innovation part. So where we have the PhD guys trying to make the product which fit, and the other part is the regulatory part, and then the third part is the BD part, I would say. Because fortunately, as a public listed company now, when we reach out to people, already we have created a name since last 25, 30 years. So it's slightly easier to access people. They are, I would say, they are now more than happy to try the product. Before, they would have hesitation in even trying. Right now, they are open to saying, "Hey, Samir, yeah, of course, you guys are big, so we would love to try." And then once they try, and then the price to value comes into picture. If the price is right, if the value is right, then we will start business. And then our hurdle right now is the regulatory clearance, because we want to go to a lot of countries very fast, but regulatory clearances in countries take time. For example, Mexico is 1 year, Brazil, it's 1 year, Russia is 1.5 year.
Just to get approval to start.
Get approval to
Wow.
sell your product. This is going inside your mouth, right? These are
Fair
still
enough.
teeth.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
they take that approval. So that's where in the journey that we are. But our other advantage, Mazin, Aviral, is once we get our one company in a country, we have multiple companies.
Hmm.
So then the trust factor. So, in trust, we always think like Tata. So Rajesh bhai and me always think like Tata, saying build a trusted business, build a 100-year-old business minimum. We say we are 35 years old now. It's still 65 to go for us. After that, let's see how things pan out. But we think like Tata, that trust is critical. Any dentist you speak to in India, or anyone since last 35 years, may say we probably have a slightly expensive brand, may say we may not be available sometimes if they need to reach out or something, may say yeah maybe I've tried and it doesn't suit me or doesn't suit my style, but they would never say that they don't trust us. That's one thing for past 35 years we have kept constant, that any decision making has to happen with 100% trust. And no matter what we need to do in terms of money or whatever internally, this one thing is so sacred to us that we can't break it. The dentist can be upset with us, the patient can be upset, it happens, we are still humans. There are 2,500-300 people making teeth with their hands, they are creative people. It may or may not be what you like. It's like, if you are going to eat in a Michelin star restaurant, maybe you will like the taste, I may not like it. Maybe I will find something good which I may say I don't like it because that doesn't suit my palate. Doesn't mean the Michelin star restaurant is bad. It's just the appetite or the palate taste doesn't suit us. Similarly, there are dentists who love us, there are dentists who like us, and there are dentists who probably say, maybe I'm happy with where I am. But there could be zero that we know who say they don't trust us.
Amazing. And talking about that, and want to touch on your personal evolution over the years. How have you changed as a leader um, over the years?
I think a lot. I would say, starting, always wanted to be a cricketer, captain of the team, and always wanted to be that. So those little leadership part has been there since start. So whichever team I was playing, I always wanted to be the captain. And even today, my kid and everyone tells me that even if I'm not a captain anywhere, I behave like a captain because I want to be in sync. So some things which shaped is probably way back in Dharwad of how the whole thought process shifted. So in Dharwad, they were taking students after 10th and 12th. I was the only person in the batch who was after 10th. Everyone was 18 years old. I was 16 years old. So since then, they used to like, at that time ragging was pretty normal. They would say, अरे बेटा तू तो 4 साल पढ़ाई करेगा, तू तो ये करेगा, तू तो वो करेगा, तेरे तो मामा की लैब है, तुझे तो और 4 साल यहाँ पे बिताने हैं. So a lot of things happened where I got irritated. I'm saying how to shut these guys down. And the only way which some of my friends came and said, he says, Samir, if you are rich, you can call the principal. I'm like, boss, sorry, वो तो है नहीं. मेरे मामा ने तो लोन लेके मुझे यहाँ पे भेजा है, तो पैसे तो नहीं है. He said, then you stand first. Because if you stand out, people will not trouble you because they know that you are the professor's favorite. So I said, ठीक है. So in first year, I stood first. I've never stood first in first to 10th standard ever because I was playing cricket. Yeah, but then when people really push you, at that time those two things come up. So since then, whenever people have told us that अरे ये तो तुमसे नहीं होगा, हम like please मत बोलो ना यार, unnecessary हमारे में fire आ जाता है if you say ये नहीं होगा तो. So then we have to do it. So way back, when we went for investments, a lot of people said अरे dental company में कोई पैसा नहीं डालेगा और तुम तो dental lab हो. At that time chains of clinics had some money, so some chains were getting investment in 2015, but we were a dental lab, we were like very B2B kind of a scenario. So there was zero funding till date in 2015 for a dental lab, zero in India, not even considered. It was like that, but we got the funding. And then post COVID, we were discussing about, with some friends and some people who are from the outside saying, we are thinking maybe IPO. He said, हो ही नहीं सकता. I said, IPO तो कहाँ से होगा, तुम्हारा होगा ही नहीं IPO. I'm like, thank you so much, you have just challenged us कि नहीं हो सकता है, तो we'll go out and we'll prove people कि हो सकता है. And then from me personally, from an angry young man in my early teens where I was really passionate, passion could also turn to anger. Now with two boys and kids, so it's like more calmer, more patient sort of a scenario, which personally that I have ventured into. When I was 18, like I said, I always wanted to be a captain, in your face attitude. नहीं हुआ तो phone तोड़ो, ये तोड़ो, वो तोड़ो, but you make it happen. Now realize that I think it's much better to be patient. Things will still happen. You just need to give it time.
Awesome. And congrats on going public. Obviously, a big milestone. What are the next 5 to 10 years looking like? And what are some big bets you plan to take, which you can share?
I think one of the probably few things in terms of if I have to define maybe for one, take the name of Lakshmi Dental to every country on the planet. If we can get regulatory clearance, if we are allowed to sell in that country based on geopolitical scenario, we want to be in every country on the planet. That's like one big bet, saying that there should not be a single country where people are not using Lakshmi Dental products. Number two, in India, create a brand where in the future the dental business is known with a brand similar to what toothpaste is Colgate. If they want to make any caps or crowns, they should first think of our name, and then they can always think of other names which they want to. I'm fine. They could think Pepsodent, they could think Close Up, but toothpaste to Colgate hai. That is the thought process we want in India for us. And then the other part is digitization and the automation part. Digitize India, where every dentist in India should have an intraoral scanner, because that's the best thing for them to be digital. They can create great patient experiences. They can cut down the turnaround time, because a lot of tier 2, tier 3 cities can't do business with probably the best dental companies to make teeth, is because impression sending time itself is 2 days because of logistics. But if it's a scanner, it'll take 2 minutes. And then build a base in India for automation, where with the people that we have, the more people that we will build, we should be able to automate and turn around very, very fast. Like I would say, years back, we would take 4, 5, 6 days to do something. Today, I can tell you we can deliver a crown the same day if there is a need be. Same day. Do a scan in the morning, 10 a.m., 6 p.m., you are fitting the crown. So those are the kind of big things that we want to do.
And you've been very unfiltered today, and our
That's the
podcast is
podcast name, right?
yeah, Founders Unfiltered. What's one piece of unfiltered feedback you received as an entrepreneur that really changed your perspective?
Unfiltered feedback. Indians don't, at least I would say on the dental part, a lot of Indians don't think big. So when we were young, when we said, "Oh, I want to, get business of Maharashtra," they're like, "Why not the world?" हमने कहा, तो कभी सोचा ही नहीं. मतलब मुंबई में रह के महाराष्ट्र का बिजनेस किया तो we would think, oh, it's so good. Maharashtra became India, so never became the world. So I think 10 years back when we got funded, I think that mindset came in, that if you have to think, why not the world? What stops us? If someone else sitting in some country can do it, why not us? And one of the reference which I can straight away bring is, when we went to a country, I saw hoardings of Skype. Skype before all the others were like leader in terms of digital communication. We used to use Skype. You would put funds in Skype. You would do videos on Skype and use Skype audio to call people international because it was very cheap. And we went to that country. So Skype is made in Estonia. So when I went to that country to do business, it was made in Estonia. I'm like, Estonia? मतलब इसका तो नाम भी मैंने मुश्किल से सुना था यार. It should have been, Skype should have been made in USA, made in Germany, or made in some other country like that. For sure, not in Estonia. But those, a small team of 10, 20 people thought that they can do it for the world, because just the thought, it was not something that stops us. And neither you or Mazin or us, nobody stops us from going to the world. It's our own thought process that stops us. So that's a big change that we have now culturally. We tell the same to our team, our children, our family, that whatever you want to do, think you want to do it for the world.
Right. Be ambitious. Think
Absolutely.
big. Super. Samir, thank you for your time and sharing so openly on what you've built. I think we all have a new interest now in learning about what dentists do and if there could be large scale dental products.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Aviral. It was a pleasure.